attention, baby. I can't make a move. Like a child.
Yeah, just past the gate and we back out at Youdales. Now we continuing east, the race court, or race course track I think it is called. Today was unfortunately the day we had to leave Youdales Hut. I have to say the 2 days here were just absolutely brilliant, and I don't think there are many better places beside the desert to really unwind and relax. Our next destination were Daisy Plains, but on the way I remembered a nice lookout I've been before, Spokes Lookout, and we thought we have a walk to it and have a look. National parks, put that gate in just behind that bushes here. Obviously someone would have driven into that already and you won't really see it from here. It's nice and green, so it blends in. Not a bad view, Chop, huh? Weather-wise, it's really hit and miss. There are all these storm cells, but they are isolated, so wrong valley, wrong time, you cop it. Next valley may be dry. But look at that. Maybe just passing us. We just made it back to the car and it started pouring down. Just managed to do a sandwich, which is leaking oil, and now it's coming down. I just remembered that the old Coachwood road down to Daisy Plains is always a pretty long, tedious drive. I'm often surprised how these trees are cut with only a millimeter to spare if you have a little bit wider four-wheel drive. Chop's 70 series is a fair bit narrower and has a bit more clearance here driving through. Oh, this is still the old Coachwood road. Yeah, she is a bit rough. I mean, nothing technical really, just rough. Doesn't look like there are that many people traveling along here. We dodged quite a few trees who came down. 5, but just missed the corner. Then that big one which someone cleared, luckily. And hopefully no more, because our chainsaw is gone. That is Robert. When I last visited the Kookaburra Schoolhouse in 2016, it looked very different. It seems like national parks have now renovated it, and I'm not sure if it's for hire or used for their own staff. They're all locked up. They're very different. There were quite a few pretty big termite mounds next to the road. I do not see them that often at this size. We came across quite a few which appeared to be stolen and then dumped cars. Hey Baba, what are you doing? Huh? You're a big bugger. You're a big bugger. Daisy Plains, once a thriving township along Carrai Road, has a history deeply embedded in Australia's logging and mining heritage. Established to support the area's timber and mining operations, the township was home to over 200 residents, comprising miners, timber cutters and their families, all seeking their fortune in these remote regions. Today, the original site of Daisy Plains is marked only by a moss-covered sign, with most other traces of the township having vanished over time. However, this old rust and protector steam engine has survived and is a good reminder of bygone times. Just 5 kilometers further north along Carrai Road, you discover the Daisy Plain Huts, a delightful collection of structures owned and maintained by national parks. Open to the public free of charge, this cluster of huts includes a kitchen hut, multiple sleeping quarters and a bathroom hut, but no warm water. All available on a first-come, first-served basis. We were fortunate to have the huts to ourselves. The huts were originally set up for national park workers to avoid the 3 hours journey back to town. Nestled among tall timber trees and big, beautiful tree ferns, these huts provide a serene escape into nature. While staying here, you can choose to set up base camp to explore nearby treks, waterfalls and Mary's View, or simply enjoy a night, stay and explore the surrounding areas the next day. But back to us. We were planning to have a campfire and sit around the fire, but the weather didn't look very promising, so we decided to test the kitchen of the huts and prepare our dinner inside. Dinner is white and red quinoa and all day breakfast. Not breakfast, it's dinner, and the boss at the fire. Indeed. Good. Bit of a warning, the chimney seems to have an insufficient draw, especially if the clouds are very low, so it was very smoky in the kitchen and the door needed to be left open. At the moment we're heading the Miners Road to Feld Creek from Daisy Plains. I've been to Daisy Plains 3 times and always thought it is a fairly long drive in and out just to have a look at Daisy Plains and Mary's View. Especially as there was no water accessible for a swim. On my previous visits I completely overlooked the trek down to Feld Creek. Likely because it's marked as a short 7-kilometer one-way trek. So I was eager to explore today where it would lead. Driving out there in the early morning is simply magnificent. The serene beauty and tranquility of the early hours make the journey an exceptional experience that I highly recommend. Isn't that beautiful? Look at these tree ferns. How lovely is that here? We figured out that the trek continues on the other side of the creek. At the time I didn't really know where this trek would lead because it was advertised as only a 7-kilometer one-way trek. So we thought we're gonna continue on and see where it brings us. The trek grew increasingly overgrown and narrow, eventually tapering to what seemed like a single-wheel trek. Unsure of where it would lead, we decided to play it safe and turn around. I'd later learned through a friend on Facebook that the trek actually leads to a waterfall. I definitely would have continued if I'd known that. This area and trek could benefit from more frequent use to keep it clear. There was one little detour around a tree which was mildly technical. I was in high range without a center diff lock engaged, no lockers on, and took it very, very slowly. A little bit more speed would have carried me over, but I just went into low range and then I could easy drive it up. We ended up back at the spot where we stopped before and decided to have an early lunch. By the way, there's a small little area where you can camp probably with 2 cars. I also wanted to have a little splash in Feld Creek. Up at 1,000 meters, I expected it to be pretty fresh. Lunch, gonna have a bit of a remaining. I'm crazy, I'm going for a swim. I wouldn't call it a swim, but a short submersion. Didn't have a bath yesterday, but we're up at 1,000 meters, so the water is not warm. Soaking in the sun after the cold swim was just magic, and I spent at least 20 minutes there just relaxing and drying off. And keep in mind, for my Patreon supporters, I will have the full track logs available on request, so I will tell you where not to go, where to go, but these would make an awesome trip and you will see some astonishing places. And even though I've been here quite a few times, I still always find something new. So yeah, if you can afford it and you like the content I produce, maybe head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee, and with the equivalent of a cup of coffee or 2 per month, you can help me creating these videos and you get access to some extra perks.
With any luck, you'll be able to boil your billy there in the morning.
No, with that luck, that could well be.
A couple of little sticks around it, and there's a few over there.
Track going out of camp here. Gonna check out where that goes. Honestly, there are so many tree ferns here. Just crazy. I gotta give a big thanks to Jack Stillman for their help. I saw their waxed canvas poncho advertised on Facebook and reached out to them. They kindly sent one for me to try. The poncho is made from 8-ounce waxed canvas, and although it's manufactured in Vietnam, the quality is impressive. Yeah, the only problem with the poncho, I really like it, because really multi-purpose garment. I can use it to lie under the car. It has loops on all ends, so you could use it as a hoochie. Obviously pretty good against rain, I tested that already, but the only thing you got to take into account, every time you bend down, the poncho pretty much spreads out and touches the floor, and especially in the wet and muddy, that is a little bit of a drawback. But I still really like it. It packs up fairly small. And yeah, I think I'm going to keep that in the car. Jack Stillman. These guys sent it to me. Australian company, but not made in Australia though. Made in Vietnam. But pretty good canvas. So, yeah. It also gives a little bit of warmth. Has these kind of flannel in here. I mean, it's not crazy, but especially against wind, pretty good. I realized another benefit of the poncho, which I haven't used yet in real life, but that is that if you wear a backpack and it starts raining, you can actually cover your backpack with a poncho. So I think that is actually quite a good little feature if you're carrying it while raining. You probably wouldn't want to carry it for multi-day trips because it is heavier than a light rain cover. But for shorter walking trips, I think that comes in very handy. Our hopes for a relaxing evening around the campfire were dashed when a severe weather front rolled in, cutting our time short. Despite this, it was truly a sight to behold as the storm swept across the valleys and mountains. Fortunately, we had our cabins to retreat to, where we could comfortably listen to the thunderstorm and the rain pelting the roof, lulling us to sleep safely indoors away from the weather. Yeah, another day, and we're on the way to Mary's View. On the Daisy Plains huts it says 16.1 k's or so to Mary's View, but that's only to the turnoff. From there on it's another 7 kilometers. So what is it? Nearly 24 kilometers. Just shortly before Mary's View we came across this Commodore, which overall looked in reasonably good shape and not too old. So I jumped out of the car to investigate a little. See, you can't even get a Holden in here. I hope there's no one in there, doesn't look like it. That's not too old here. No one in there. Must be some druggies here. Bit of an effort to get that thing in here. Nearly there. Looking down into the untamed wilderness and across the western plateaus, it's almost unimaginable how the early explorers managed these terrains with just a strong resolve and a few pack horses. In 1818, explorer John Oxley ventured through the New England tablelands, opening up the region for future graziers and timber cutters. Named after Mary Cochrane, the wife of a pioneering logger on the Carrai Plateau, Mary's View offers a stunning perspective of this historical landscape. Down in the valley you see the Maclay River winding its way. Guys, just have a look how dense this bush is here. I will only go a few meters in, but imagine as an early explorer you had to hack your way through these for kilometers upon kilometers. We were now on our way out towards the coast. A few more trees down. Unfortunately, the only way in and out is the old Coachwood Road. All alternative tracks which bring you out the other side towards the north are blocked. It's good getting rid of that mud off. Raining a little, and we are probably 20 k's from our campsite, and that is only the start according to Windy. We just decided to pull the plug. The weather forecast is for another 5 hours of rain, then a little lull, then the rain continues. We plan to stay another day tomorrow if the weather was good, but that now doesn't look like it at all. So we decided to bail out, and I just booked a hotel in Warhope, and Chop will do the same, and we're heading now to Warhope, and then tomorrow home. Pity. I was looking forward to get to these last camp spots, but with that weather it wouldn't be much fun. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please keep in mind, this is a self-funded channel, so I would greatly appreciate if you could help me out by sharing, liking and subscribing. And if you can, please consider head over to Patreon or buy me a coffee, and with the equivalent of a cup of coffee or two per month, you can really help me making these videos. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you along the tracks.